It was a typical Monday morning at Maplewood High School. The sun was shining bright, and the sound of laughter filled the hallways as students rushed to their classes. I was one of them, a sophomore trying to navigate the tricky waters of high school life. My name is Jake, and like many others, I had my share of insecurities. I wasn't the most popular kid. In fact, I was often overlooked, blending into the background while others shined. As I walked down the hall, I noticed a group of students gathered near the entrance. They were laughing loudly, their voices echoing through the corridor. I pushed through the crowd, curious to see what was happening. When I reached the front, I saw Ryan, the school's biggest bully, standing over Mr. Thompson, the janitor. Mr. Thompson was an older man, probably in his 60s. He wore thick glasses and had a kind smile that made you feel warm inside. He always greeted us with a nod or a soft "Good morning," no matter how bad his day seemed. But today was different. Ryan had a handful of friends surrounding him, egging him on as he made fun of Mr. Thompson. "Look at this loser!" Ryan shouted, pointing at the janitor's worn-out uniform. "What kind of job is this? Cleaning up our messes? No wonder you're always alone!" Laughter erupted from the crowd, and I felt my stomach twist in knots. I had seen Ryan bully others before, but this felt worse. Mr. Thompson didn't deserve this. He was always so nice, and yet here he was, being humiliated for no reason at all. I wanted to say something, to stand up for Mr. Thompson, but the fear of becoming Ryan's next target held me back. I stood there, frozen, watching the scene unfold. Mr. Thompson's smile faded, replaced by a look of hurt. He shuffled his feet, trying to ignore the insults, but I could see the pain in his eyes. Just when I thought it couldn't get worse, Ryan leaned in closer, sneering. "You should just quit, old man. No one wants you here." The crowd erupted into more laughter, and my heart sank. Suddenly, the school bell rang, signaling the start of class. The crowd began to disperse, but I couldn't shake the image of Mr. Thompson's face from my mind. As I walked to my first class, the guilt ate away at me. I should have done something. I should have defended him. The day went on, but I couldn't focus. I kept replaying the scene in my head, wishing I could go back and change it. At lunch, I sat with my usual group of friends, but the laughter and chatter around me felt distant. My mind was still with Mr. Thompson. After school, I decided to stick around for a while. I found myself wandering the halls, hoping to catch a glimpse of Mr. Thompson. I wanted to apologize for not standing up for him. I finally spotted him in the janitor's closet, organizing cleaning supplies. Taking a deep breath, I knocked on the door. "Mr. Thompson?" I said softly. He looked up, surprised to see me. "Oh, hello, Jake. What brings you here?" I hesitated, searching for the right words. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry about what happened earlier. Ryan is a jerk, and you didn't deserve that." Mr. Thompson smiled gently, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Thank you, Jake. But it's all right. I've dealt with bullies like him before. It's part of the job. But it shouldn't be," I replied, my voice rising slightly. "You're a good person. You shouldn't have to put up with that." He sighed, his expression turning serious. "Sometimes people don't realize the impact of their words. But it's important to stay strong and not let them get to you." I couldn't help but admire his strength, but I still felt like I hadn't done enough. As I left the janitor's closet, I promised myself that I would find a way to stand up for him next time. Days turned into weeks, and every time I saw Mr. Thompson, I felt a sense of respect for him. He was always there, quietly working, never complaining, even when the students treated him poorly. But Ryan's taunts didn't stop. It seemed like every few days, he would find a new way to humiliate Mr. Thompson, and each time, my resolve to stand up for him grew stronger. One afternoon, as I was leaving school, I heard laughter coming from the parking lot. My heart sank as I realized it was Ryan again. I hurried over, only to find Mr. Thompson on his knees, cleaning up spilled soda while Ryan and his friends laughed at him. "Look at him! Can't even keep the school clean. Ryan shouted, his laughter ringing in the air. Something inside me snapped. I couldn't take it anymore. Stop it, Ryan! I yelled, stepping forward. Leave him alone! Ryan turned to me, surprised. Oh, look who decided to grow a backbone. Yeah, well, maybe you should try being a decent human being for once. I shot back, my heart racing. Ryan's expression shifted from surprise to anger. You think you can defend him? You're just as pathetic. But I didn't care. I stood my ground, my heart pounding in my chest. Mr. Thompson works hard every day to keep this school clean. You have no right to treat him like this. For a moment, there was silence. The laughter faded, and Ryan's friends exchanged unsure glances. But then Ryan smirked, his confidence returning. Whatever, loser. You're just protecting your little friend. As he turned to walk away, I felt a mixture of relief and fear. I had stood up for Mr. Thompson, but I knew that my fight with Ryan was far from over. After that day, things changed. Ryan didn't bully Mr. Thompson quite as often, but the tension remained. I continued to check in on Mr. Thompson, sharing small conversations whenever I could. He always appreciated the kindness, and slowly, I felt a bond forming between us. One afternoon, as I was helping him organize some supplies, he looked at me with a thoughtful expression. You know, Jake, it takes courage to stand up for what's right. Not everyone can do that. I shrugged, feeling a bit embarrassed by the compliment. I just couldn't watch you get bullied anymore. It wasn't right. He nodded, a proud smile creeping across his face. You're a good kid, Jake. Don't ever forget that. As the school year continued, I learned more about Mr. Thompson. He shared stories of his life, his family, and the challenges he faced. I realized that he wasn't just a janitor. He was a man with dreams and struggles, just like all of us. One day, as I was leaving school, I noticed a flyer on the bulletin board. It was an announcement for the upcoming school talent show. I felt a spark of excitement. I had always wanted to perform but never had the courage to do it. But this time, I thought of Mr. Thompson and how he inspired me to be brave. That evening, I practiced singing in my room. I chose a song that reminded me of overcoming struggles and finding strength. It wasn't easy, and I stumbled through the lyrics, but I kept pushing myself. I wanted to do this not just for me, but for Mr. Thompson too. As the talent show approached, I gained more confidence. I could picture Mr. Thompson in the audience, cheering me on. I signed up to perform, and when the day finally came, I felt a mix of excitement and nerves. The auditorium was packed with students, their energy buzzing in the air. I took a deep breath as I stepped onto the stage. My heart raced, but I focused on the faces in the crowd, hoping to find Mr. Thompson among them. With each note I sang, I felt the weight of my fears lifting. I poured my heart into the performance, and I could see the audience connecting with my words. When I finished, the applause was deafening. I beamed with pride, feeling a sense of accomplishment I had never experienced before. After the show, I searched for Mr. Thompson, eager to share the moment with him. I finally spotted him standing near the back, a huge smile on his face. "You were amazing, Jake!" he exclaimed, his eyes shining with pride. "I knew you had it in you." "Thanks, Mr. Thompson. I couldn't have done it without your encouragement," I replied, feeling grateful for his support. As we chatted, I noticed a group of students nearby watching us. They had been part of Ryan's circle, but now their expressions were different. They seemed curious, perhaps even inspired by our friendship. In that moment, I realized how powerful kindness could be. It had the ability to change perceptions and bring people together. Weeks passed, and the school year began to wind down. Ryan had backed off, and I felt a sense of relief. But I knew that Mr. Thompson still faced challenges. One day, I overheard a conversation between two students about how they planned to prank him during the last week of school. My heart sank. I couldn't let this happen. I rushed to find Mr. Thompson, determined to warn him. "Mr. Thompson, I heard something. I think Ryan and his friends are planning to pull a prank on you." I said, my voice filled with urgency. His expression changed, a mixture of concern and understanding. Thank you for telling me, Jake. But I've dealt with bullies my whole life. I'll be okay. No, it's not okay. You shouldn't have to put up with this, I insisted. He looked at me for a moment, and then nodded slowly. All right, we'll come up with a plan together. We spent the next few days preparing for whatever Ryan had in store. I felt grateful to have a friend like Mr. Thompson, someone who believed in me and taught me the importance of standing up for others. Finally, the day arrived. I was nervous but ready. As the school day progressed, I could feel the tension in the air. I knew something was coming, and I was determined to be there for Mr. Thompson. During lunch, the prank unfolded. Ryan and his friends set off a series of harmless but messy surprises in the janitor's closet. But this time, instead of being caught off guard, Mr. Thompson was ready. He calmly walked in, and to everyone's surprise, he had a bucket of confetti in his hands. Well, if you want to play games, let's have some fun, he shouted, tossing the confetti into the air. The cafeteria erupted in laughter, and for the first time, I saw Ryan's confidence falter. Mr. Thompson had turned the prank on its head, showing that he wouldn't be a victim anymore. After the chaos settled, I approached Mr. Thompson. That was brilliant, I said, unable to hide my excitement. He laughed, a genuine, joyful sound. Sometimes you have to face the bullies with a smile. They don't know how to handle it. In the following weeks, something remarkable happened. The students began to view Mr. Thompson differently. No longer just a janitor, he became a symbol of resilience. People started to respect him, and even Ryan seemed to back off. As summer approached, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for everything Mr. Thompson had taught me. He had shown me the importance of kindness, courage, and standing up for what is right. On the last day of school, I approached him with a small gift, a framed photo of us from the talent show. Thank you for everything, Mr. Thompson. You've changed my life, I said, my voice thick with emotion. He smiled, his eyes glistening. You've changed mine too, Jake. Remember, always stand up for others, and never lose your kindness. As I walked away, I felt a sense of hope. I had learned that even in the face of adversity, we could find strength in each other. Mr. Thompson may have started as the janitor, but he had become a true friend and mentor. And as I stepped into the summer sunlight, I knew that I would carry his lessons with me always.